Oh, here we go. Hey, everybody, thanks for coming. So I'm Steve McDonagh.
And I'm Dan Smith, and we are the Hearty Boys, and we started out in Lakeview in Chicago as caterers, which is part of the reason that Catersource is near and dear to our hearts, and then we stepped into the restaurant world as well. Right now, our restaurant is named Hearty. It's also in Lakeview. It's a 3-star restaurant, Michelin rated, so we're really proud of that as well.
Thank you.
And look, we're getting applause.
All excited over there.
No, really.
So, how many of you do cooking demos? Do you do demos? Not really. We have a lot, mostly caterers out here today, right? Okay. So we're all brethren, right? Let's get this out in the open. We're all brethren. We're all caterers. We understand that we all have to do demos, and this kind of thing happens. So here's the deal. They cooked all our food for us today. So some of the things we're going to demo, we're going to have to just chat about.
That's basically what I do. I cook. So I'm up here to hold the mic and hopefully look handsome. That's about it.
We will be entertaining and fun, and we're really going to talk about booze. All right? We will talk about these items, but we're all in this together, and there's alcohol. All right? All right? A little support? Alcohol.
And I've got a torch.
All right, so nobody screw with Dan. So here's the scoop. Our first book came out, it was called Talk With Your Mouth Full, and it's all about catering, or what we do as caterers for the home chef and the home entertainer. What we have as caterers, I always tell my clients, is different than restaurateurs. A restaurateur cooks food in their kitchen and brings it to your table. As caterers, we cook the food in the kitchen, we put it in a hot box, we put it in a van, we drive it over to the Newberry Library, we reheat it, and it needs to look the same for those 300 guests at that off-premise venue as it did for the bride when she came in for the tasting. So we have a different toolkit, and I think that is a strong a sales tool for all of us to explain, especially when we are up against some restaurateurs who are saying, oh, hell yeah, I cater too. We have to let these people know we have a different toolkit, and we can do this in a much better way. So the first one was about that, and kind of making it easier for people to understand how to entertain in their home. The second one is about booze.
So the first one was food heavy. So that was my thing, and Steve just came along for the ride. This one, all about booze, so I'm here along for the ride. I tested all of the recipes, 200 of them, probably about 3 times each. Wow. And I'm still standing.
I have been loving this mixology movement for the past 7, 8, 9 years. First time I was in Audrey Saunders' bar, the Pegu Club in Manhattan. And that's when I learned how I first understood why my great aunt would have a cocktail before dinner. Because I didn't get it. I'm a child of the 80s. You know, I worked at TGI Fridays. I was head waiter the only time we were store of the quarter, by the way. Now stop. Stop. But, well, you know, the nonsense we drank then? You know, we're drinking a lot of vodka then, and vodka tastes like nothing. So what did we do to that vodka? We added sugar and all this artificial nonsense and froze it up, and the drinks just completely lack sophistication. And like I said, I wouldn't understand why my great aunt would have a cocktail, but when I was introduced to these pre-prohibition cocktails, I got it. Because these cocktails taste of something. They are layered, they are herbal, they are bitter, they are filled with citrus, and now this cocktail pairs with the food. We drink wine because it pairs with the food, and now we've got alcohol in these spirits that pair with the food. So I'm very excited about this movement, and doing the same thing with this book as we did with the first book, which is to take the fear out of people and write a real bar guide, a real honest-to-God bar guide, 200 vintage recipes and a lot of my own twists on them, or original ones that are based on that kind of formula of the pre-prohibition cocktails, so that my clients can just have one book in paperback that they can spill stuff on and keep next to the martini glasses, not on the coffee table.
The really cool thing too is that we did a fundraiser, I think last week in Chicago, and all the top chefs are there, and each one has a table. So I'm behind my table, and I'm talking to a guy from another restaurant downtown, and he's looking at the book, and he says, "My bartender has that behind the bar." which is great. You know, so it crosses the line from people using it at home to also mixologists using it behind the bar. And also, trendy. These kinds of drinks right now are so trendy, and we're finding that not only in the restaurant, but also with brides who are coming to us, who want to, you know, everyone's a foodie right now, so everyone wants the cutting edge thing. And these kinds of craft cocktails are cutting edge. Why are you laughing at me? He's laughing at me.
No, I'm not laughing at you. It's true. I mean,
this is what I live with.
No, it's absolutely true. Everybody is a foodie. Isn't that killing you when you get your clients right now? Well, I'm a foodie. Well, you know what? I'm also eating to survive. We're all kind of foodies. I get it. At that term, I'm like so ready not to hear it anymore. But this is talking to your foodies, your bar foodies. People love a label. So one of the things that we're doing, and I'm about to make a cocktail, one of the things we're doing right now is I'm offering cocktail parties for our clients in a new way. Now, we talked about this at one of our demos, so if you've seen that, just sit tight while I repeat this, but what we are doing are parties called New Old Bar parties. I wanted to offer my clients that are doing small cocktail parties, and especially my corporate clients that are looking for a different way to throw events, a cocktail-centric party. I am doing 3 vintage cocktails and 2 bar snacks. We're doing that for $50 a head. Everybody gets a tasting of each one, and I send a mixologist, not Joe Schmo bartender, but a mixologist who can tell the clients the history of the drink and why we're drinking this, why you're not going to be afraid of gin. And it's now a cocktail experience, and they're offering a lot more. My clients are offering a lot more to their guests than just a cocktail party where they're standing around. They're getting this great experience, and it's really going well. So one of the things that I am doing today is 3 separate cocktails with, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, like 8 ingredients. So I can bring all of the spirits to my client for this party in one, like say, in one milk crate. So it's great. So one of the things, and I'm sorry, Dan would normally be cooking today, so he's just kind of standing here, but he can do an excellent puppet show.
I'm like Carol Merrill.
Go through this.
Behind door number 2.
So we're talking about that I'm going to do 9 of these and do 3 different cocktails from these, and I was going to lead up to something, but I'll just make the first drink.
Make the drink for cry eye. I'm parched up here.
The first drink that I want to make is called a Pegu Club. Who here thinks that they don't drink gin? Okay.
Oh, there's a lot of you.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. We lost gin in the 70s, the 80s, and it got very, very juniper heavy. It had a real burn, caused you a headache. You'd end up, here in Vegas and not remember, take a hostage, anything like that. Gin is very different now. These new American gins are distilled gins that are steeped, which is just real basic. Think of it like tea. If we just steep the juniper in the base spirit, that's going to give us the really harsh gin. If we distill it and we are putting the vapors are infusing into the base spirit, those are the lovely gins that we're doing now. And we can infuse them with like wonderful flavors too. Hendrick's gin has cucumber and rose in it. Oh my gosh, you add that with some lime and it's a lovely cocktail called I do an elderflower gimlet with that. It's really great. So now again, we are, kind of maybe not in the best situation today. So I've gotten a bottle of Tanqueray. It's not what I would use. All right, so I want you guys to think about the new American gins. You go to your liquor store and tell them just that. Tell me about a good new American gin, and they will hook you up. They're totally affordable too. I love Smalls gin. Really good.
How many of you are familiar with like all of the new small distilleries? Because a lot of the time we do these demos for the general public, so it's different to be doing it for people in the business. So how many people are familiar with the new small distilleries that are popping up around the country? Okay, so if you're not, think about microbreweries, right? It's like a microbrewery only for liquor, and they are, honest to God, popping up everywhere. They're popping up in small areas. We've got a weekend place in Michigan, about 2 hours outside of Chicago, and a distillery just popped up out there. So all these small places are coming up, and they're just distilling really beautiful different types of liquor.
Here's what is really vital to making these cocktails. It's all about balance.
It's all about fresh too, right?
It's about fresh and it's about balance.
What are you doing now, Steve?
Well, hold on, I'll get there.
I know, but I'm
I know, Carol Merrill. We'll get there. It's all about balance. So these are measured out and researched, and it's like baking. If I tell you that the Pegu Club, and this is why I need my cheat sheets, because I know that a Pegu Club is gin and Cointreau and lime and bitters, but I can never remember it's exactly 2 1/4 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of Cointreau, 3/4 of lime juice, and 3 healthy dashes of Angostura. That's important in these cocktails, because the balance is what makes it right. So we are always going to use fresh citrus. If there is no reason for you to buy a little plastic lime filled with lime juice anymore, people. It is not lime. At some point it was lime juice, but now it's sodium benzoate and all kinds of nonsense that you don't need in your drink, and it's not going to give you the right flavor. All right, so we're using a real honest-to-God lime. We're going to squeeze it with, if you don't have one of these, it's my best friend. I love these. And you have to have a jigger, okay, for measuring. Again, TGI Fridays, store the quarter back in the 80s, where we're throwing those bottles around and free pouring. We're not doing it anymore. So I put my spirits in there. Throw in some ice here, and I'm going to shake it. Now, when we shake cocktails, of course we're making it cold. We're adding the chill, but there's a couple other things that we're doing with it. We are softening the edges by blending the flavors together. We are adding dilution by 30% of a cocktail, and the main thing we're adding is air.
This is Steve's favorite part.
I do love this. Generally, you should shake and count to about 10. I have to tell you, I know that I'm an overshaker, and this is why. I am not like a relaxed Zen guy. I am not a process guy. I love the process of making a cocktail. Honest to God, I love it. I love the measuring. I love this. I love the feel as it gets colder in your hand. And I love using a great glass and just feeling like a grown-up in my own home with a great glass and a drink. I just love that. So once we've gotten that shaken up, we've added air. Oh my goodness, wait, I'm so busy talking, I didn't add my bitters. Super important. 1, 2, 3 good dashes of that. Gives me an opportunity to shake again. Okay. Now, I told you that we added air to this. This makes the drink alive. It gives the drink some texture. It gives the cocktail a whole different mouthfeel. I'm going to give the Pegu Club a very, very thin slice of lemon there. And look at the lime, I'm sorry. Look how pretty that drink is. Isn't that a gorgeous cocktail? This is from the late 1800s, named after the Pegu Club, which was an officers' club in Burma. When Burma lost its independence and gin fell out of fashion, this drink disappeared. And it's back now, and this is when I have people in my restaurant who tell me that they don't drink gin. I tell them that they have to try one of these, and it changes their mind.
One of our salespeople, Kitty, just sat down, and we converted her to gin just a couple of months ago.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying about the air bubbles. Jerry Thomas is the father of modern mixology. In the late 1800s, he put together the first bar guide, gathering all of these recipes. People were doing all these drinks under different names or using different recipes. First time they all got together. And Thomas was asked, what is the best way to enjoy a cocktail? And he said, quickly, while it's still laughing at you. Now, why is it laughing at us? Because we just added all of that texture and effervescence with the air. Now, if I stirred that martini, you know it's going to have a different mouthfeel, right? It's just going to feel heavy and luxe, and this is going to feel light and airy. So this is why also, people, super important, we're not drinking cocktails in these 10-ounce martini glasses anymore. We're done with those. They had their moment, that's fine, we're done with them. First of all, it's going to cut down your liquor cost, right? Secondly, when you research these old cocktails, they were made 4 or 5 ounces. That's what you find from these very old drinks, 4 or 5 ounces. So what is that giving us? It is giving us a whole other course. Do you know what I mean? It's a whole other course of flavors that we have before we eat. And you're getting a buzz from the flavors, from the experience, from the shaking, as opposed to just a buzz from the vodka.
Well, can we talk about glassware too for a second? Mm-hmm. Because martini glass, right? How many people are using martini glasses at their parties? How many people are using coupes at their parties right now? I know some people are like, "What's a coupe?" A coupe, you know what like an old-time saucer, champagne saucer is? That's a coupe. And that's what's being used in craft cocktails now, is coupes. So again, you know, we're talking cutting edge. We're talking about switching from this to the coupe, because that's what's being used.
One of the things that is this my pineapple? One of the things that I have been doing with these new old bar parties is I'm sending the cocktail glasses to the client. I'm including it because I want control of that glass. I don't want to go to their house and find out they're using these 10-ounce martini glasses and throw off all of my work and my liquor costs. So what I've done is gone to all of the Goodwills and Salvation Armies in the Midwest. And if any of you need like a little cut glass coupe, you're out of luck. Because I bought them all. And they cost me like 79 cents, you know? And if one breaks, it's still cheaper than if I had gone to, you know, a larger store and bought it. So this one is called an Algonquin. Remember Dorothy Parker? The Algonquin Round Table? That's where Dorothy Parker was famous for saying, "I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy." You know what it is? I mean, those folks around the Algonquin Round Table, they were witty and they were drinking fabulous cocktails in great little glasses, and I want to be them. So this is called an Algonquin, named after the bar that they would go. I am using dry vermouth. This is, you know, your basic Gallo, but there are some wonderful dry vermouths out there right now. Antica's making some great dry vermouths. There's just tons. I'm loving vermouth. Now I understand how vermouth can just be drunk straight up. Right? You started doing that, a little sweet vermouth.
Yeah, and I think you mocked me for it.
Except then I tried it, and I believed.
All right. So I was right?
Yeah, you were right.
Okay, I was right.
So the Algonquin is 1.5 ounces of rye, 3/4 ounce of the dry vermouth, and 3/4 ounce of fresh pineapple. Now, okay, so you're not going to squeeze your own pineapple, but at least we're not going to get it out of a can because that's going to give it that, you know, a higher acidity. We get another little glass.
So along with the 200 cocktails that are in the book, I did 25 bar snacks, which was kind of easy. But again, you know, I geared them all toward the home cook. So I made them easy. But the cool thing about them too is that what we find we're doing is we're adding them to weddings. And we're adding them on as like the first half hour of the cocktail hour. We're not passing hors d'oeuvres, we're just passing some bar snacks. Because it's trendy and it's cool. It's also cheaper.
Cheap.
But it's trendy and it's cool. So, you know, you're
cheap,
doing that and then you're starting to pass out your hors d'oeuvres. And, you know, again, perceived value, people think, wow, I'm getting something really cool and I'm trendy.
Speaking of cheap, talk about the Parmesan crisps and what a huge hit that is.
Okay, so of course we all know what frico is, like a Parmesan frico, right? And so I call that Parmesan crisp. I put that into the book with shredded Parmesan, a little black pepper, make it into, actually not even into a round, I just spread it out in an even layer on the pan, put it in the oven. When it cools, I crack it into pieces. You would think it's the second coming of Jesus Christ. You know, because we, like I said, we do these demos around for the general public, and I do this one, and people are like, oh my God, it's amazing.
We did it on TV where I busted my hump, and I'm going on, cocktails, look at me working, look at me shaking, isn't this great? And they're like, oh my God, how did you make this cheese? I melted it.
So again, you know, I mean, it's like, how long does it take? It takes no time at all, and boom, you know, you've got something that people are loving. It's funny, but it's, again, perceived value.
Now this one is an El Presidente. Now the point I'm trying to make here, I am making 3 totally different cocktails. This light gin cocktail, this Algonquin. Now I've given you history on both of these drinks. Isn't that great? People love that when a bartender or a mixologist can give you a little history about what's going on and why we're drinking what we're drinking. That's all great value, and it enhances the party.
One of the cool things about One of the cool things about this, about the Algonquin, is the orange that's in it. It actually gets flamed.
No, it doesn't. That's the next one. Let the bartender do what he's doing.
I have one thing to do up here because I'm not cooking. I have
I'm
one
saving
thing
it
to
for
do.
last.
I thought he put it in there and didn't let me do it.
No, I'm saving
I
it
have
for
one thing
you.
to do.
I saved it for you. Okay, here's the scoop. We've got grenadine like this today. You're not going to use that either, okay? It's in the book. I'll tell you how to do it. Who can tell me what grenadine tastes like? Cherry, right?
Cherry, yeah.
Yeah, right, cherry? Wrong. Wrong. That's because we're not drinking grenadine right. I would have said cherry too until I really tasted grenadine. Grenadine is pomegranate. So how do we make our own grenadine? Cuppa cuppa. It's a simple syrup. It's palm, you know that Palm Wonderful? It's Palm Wonderful juice, it's sugar, and a couple drops of orange blossom water. Now once you have a drink that's made with your own homemade grenadine versus something that is made with a bottled grenadine, you're done. I promise you, you will not buy another bottle of grenadine. There's a drink called a monkey gland. I love doing it because it's got such a great name. It's got this kind of a naughty history that we don't need to go into. I tell you off stage. I'll tell you now. It had to do with there's some doctor in the late 1800s that was helping men's virility through adding a monkey gland into the gentleman. And this drink was named after that. Isn't that crazy? It was monkey testicles. It's the only drink that has anything to do with
Makes you
monkey
want that
testicles.
drink, doesn't it?
But it's good. It's got some absinthe in it too, which is probably why this doctor was like, "Oh, absinthe, monkey testicles for everybody. Let's go." All right. So
Oh my God.
I haven't even had one of these yet.
Are you sure? Are you sure
I
you
know.
haven't been drinking like backstage?
No, I just have a buzz from life.
All right, he told that. So who knows what the coupe was modeled after? Oh, you do? Okay.
Tell us.
Tell us.
Marie Antoinette.
The coupe was supposedly modeled after Marie Antoinette's breast.
Really?
So
The left
again,
one.
always a. The right one was a little bigger.
Yes.
The right one was 8
a
ounces.
smaller one for a little, again, liquor costs.
But again, it's all these funny little facts though are fun, especially if like the new old bar party, the new thing that we're doing. Those are fun little facts to like throw out to your client because they make the whole evening more interesting.
All right, so this is the El Presidente, completely different color. It's light rum, 1.5 ounces of light rum, 1 ounce of dry vermouth, 1/4 ounce of the orange liqueur, and 1/2 teaspoon of your homemade fresh grenadine. Now, what's really cool here you go, chef. This will be for you. We're going to flame the orange peel on here. Of course, when we put an orange peel or lemon zest in there, we're getting the essential oils. You all know that. But what happens when we take those essential oils and toast them as they go onto the layer of the glass? Oh, it's lovely. So use a matchstick lighter. You're not really going to use a torch, are you?
Normally you have a matchstick lighter to do this, but they brought me out a torch.
Yeah, I would use a matchstick lighter. If I were you.
I kind of hope. I wished it had been like a welding torch, and I had one of those welding masks, but I don't.
All right, here's Dan. Let's see. Yeah, you should use a match. So you're just going to hold the zest of the lemon towards the flame. Let's see, Dan doesn't work at this part of the kitchen. Put it towards the drink, for goodness sake. Let's see what you're doing. All right, now squeeze. Duck and cover, people! Yeah, do you see that? You see a little spark? So we've just toasted all of those oils, and now they're really going to lay across the surface of the drink. It's lovely. I love doing that. And your customers will love seeing you do that. I've got a hand trimmer, so it's probably not the best thing for me. I would totally set myself on fire. So that's 3 great drinks with just a few bottles, and this will transform your bar. And again, I'm sorry if some of you folks have seen us talking about this already, but in the 70s and 80s, what were we doing? We were greeting people with trays of champagne and wine. We were really kind of schmancy, right? Then we go over to the signature cocktail. The John and Martha Teeny. It's blue because they're going to the Bahamas. Done with that. Now what I tell my brides is, tell me what you like. I'm going to pick you out a kick-ass cocktail that has some history and some flavor. And we're going to put that on the bar. We're going to have some name tags with it. And then I have control, again, over what I'm serving. Do you want to talk about some foods in the book?
I put it into different categories. So I've got things that are crunchy, things that are fried, things that are pickled, and then I have some small plate things. So
Those are good.
these are the Middle Eastern spiced almonds with raisins. Great bar snack, great to just put on your bar at your events in bowls. These are a little bit more labor intensive. They are chorizo and cheddar stuffed olives that are then deep fried. And then I went a little bit, like I said, into the small plate realm with things like poutine. I also did a cheesy monkey bread. So things that are
We'll serve that with the monkey gland.
So monkey bread and monkey gland, it's a theme. But again, 25 bar snacks, more really about the 200 drinks.
Love you to have the book, and if you do want it, I really think that we might be sold out at the Mirage. Last night they had 4 left. If they don't, I hope you'll get it at Amazon, because I will tell you, since we're friends, cheap, 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 cheap. I can hardly buy them for what they have them at Amazon.com, but I hope it'll be a big help for you. Let's open up for any questions.
Any questions?
Anybody has questions, just come on right up here.